Shutter Island, a psychological horror film directed by the great and only Martin Scorsese, who directed Goodfellas and Taxi Driver and Hugo and other countless classics. And this movie somehow has a 68% rating on Rotten Tomatoes. I call bullshit. I rewatched this movie yesterday, and I remember it being amazing. And it still is amazing. This movie, I don't even know how to describe it. There's so much going on in this film. I mean, Martin Scorsese really freaking went for it in this film. I mean, it's definitely not one of, or it's not a film that you would think that he would do. You know, I can sort of see why some critics call this his worst movie. And they were saying that it's just another conventional horror, psychological, scary movie. It's a lot more than that, guys. Come on, what are you talking about? This movie is absolutely phenomenal, I think. In every way, it's directed pristinely. Leonardo DiCaprio gives one of his absolute best performances. Again, he's been robbed and snubbed by the Academy Awards too many times to count, but that's another video. That is another topic for another video that I won't even try and go into in this video, but he really does give damn near an Oscar-worthy performance of a guy losing his sanity in this insane asylum, and it's amazing. Mark Ruffalo is really freaking good in this movie as well as his detective, or spoiler warning, his psychologist or psychiatrist near the end of the movie, as it comes into fruition that he is actually insane. He gives a really good, well-rounded performance as well. Not as good as Leo's, but I love his character in this movie. I love the fact that he calls Leo boss all the time, and especially when you know the twist at the end, which I'm guessing you do. This movie's been out for, I think, 10 years now. I think this is the 10th anniversary 4K Steelbook, if I remember that correctly from when I bought it a couple days ago. But yeah, Mark Ruffalo gives a really good performance, and Leonardo DiCaprio, like I said, gives him an amazing, top-notch performance. He really tries to pull it, he really pulls it off with the insane thing. And oh my God, Leo, we love you, man. You only have one Oscar, and that is shameful. That is absolutely shameful to the Academy and to basically all movies. I really love the soundtrack in this movie. It's not really a soundtrack. Martin Scorsese chose to put like classical music sort of in the movie. Music that wasn't written for the film itself. One, I think two at the most, but definitely one song. It's the first song that you hear when you start the movie. It's actually from The Shining. The Shining didn't, it wasn't for The Shining, but it was a song that they used for The Shining, and Scorsese chose to make that song into this movie. And I love that choice, actually, because that's it sets up the tone for the movie, for the story in the film perfectly. I mean, it's eerie, it's dark, and it's mysterious, and basically the entire soundtrack is. I love the fact that, I mean, if you go to Apple Music and you type in Shutter Island soundtrack, there really is not an official Shutter Island soundtrack. It's basically just a bunch of older classical music that he chose to put into this film, and I think that is a fantastic choice. And come on, it's a Scorsese film. You know it's gonna look great, you know it's gonna be directed great, and it is great. I cannot stress this enough. I don't understand why this movie has a 68% rating on Rotten Tomatoes. I know I've said before in my other videos that I don't like Rotten Tomatoes to control my opinion on a movie. I don't like it when people say that a movie is good because it has a higher rating on Rotten Tomatoes, or it has a lower rating on, you know, it's a bad movie because it has a lower rating on Rotten Tomatoes. I don't like that aspect. I have said before that I've loved movies that have low ones, and I've really disliked movies that have high ones. But this just baffles me. I read through some of the critic reviews of this movie, and one of them said that this is by far Scorsese's worst film. And okay, you can have that opinion, all right? But even Scorsese at his quote-unquote worst is 10 times better than a lot of the shit that you see nowadays. Pardon my language, I'm sorry. This just riles me up. I don't get how so many critics can look at a Scorsese film, especially one that has so many meanings like this one, that, you know, it plays with your mind. You're not really sure what's true and who's telling the truth. And is Leo going insane? Is he not? Is it all a conspiracy? And Scorsese freaking directs that kind of mentality so well throughout this entire film that you start to even question sort of your own sanity. I mean, that's a success in my opinion. This movie does not deserve a measly 68% rating on Rotten Tomatoes. I don't buy it. I shouldn't, this is more of a venting video for me, but it also is sort of like a rewatch review because I haven't seen this movie. I only saw this movie once back in the day when I brought it home from Family Video, all before Netflix and Hulu and all that. I brought it home and watched it and was completely amazed by the movie itself, but completely flabbergasted at the twist at the end. Again, spoiler warning, you saw the title of the video, that Leo is actually the insane one, and there are little hints throughout the movie that say, or that show that he's going insane. There's one scene, I'll try and find it. If I find it, I'll put it in the video really quick right here.
Could I have a glass of water, please?
No problem.
Thank you, Marshall.
But there's a scene in the movie where they're interrogating other prisoners or patients, as Ben Kingsley's character says. They're interrogating patients to see if they could find any clues about where this girl is that they're trying to find. And the patient asks for a glass of water, and Mark Ruffalo's character gets up and gets her water, and he sits back down and gives her the glass of water. She takes a drink of the water, but the glass is not there. It literally looks like this, and she takes a drink and she sets it back down, but then when she sets it back down, it cuts to a shot of her having the glass of water in her hand. I noticed that for the first time last night when I watched it. I think that is a clear thing. If you're watching it in the theater, obviously you can't, backtrack or rewind it or whatever. And that might be one of those things where you're like, did I see that right? But it's also like, this is what Leonardo DiCaprio's character, Teddy Daniels, is feeling. And he's seeing things that aren't there and seeing, whatever. And it's like, I think that's just really good editing, and it's really good direction from Scorsese. But yeah, 68% rating on Rotten Tomatoes. I don't buy it. I think this movie is absolutely phenomenal. It's up there, basically, in my opinion, with like stuff like The Shining and stuff like that. It's just a really, really amazing psychological horror movie that is different than what Scorsese usually does. He usually does the whole Casino and Goodfellas and these really these character studies on the bad people in life. But this one was kind of an interesting one that he took on, but under his direction and under his eyes for perfection, this movie is damn near perfection, in my opinion. Art is subjective. Movies are subjective. You might find this movie really bad. I don't know. I'm just saying that I think this movie is amazing, and maybe you should rewatch it if you don't think it's amazing, or if you think it's amazing, rewatch it because it's amazing. Can I say amazing one more time? Amazing, 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 whatever. Yeah, but anyway, that's my little spiel, vent, rant, whatever, rewatch, review, whatever you want to call it, on Shutter Island. I think this is obviously an amazing film. Scorsese has never really made a bad film. There are movies, I've never seen Raging Bull. I'll probably do a review of that at some point. I haven't seen Last Temptation of Christ, and I haven't seen Hugo in a while. I need to go back and watch his entire movie catalog. Anyway, this movie, it's amazing. Go check it out if you haven't seen it yet. But as always, thanks for watching.